Well, a busy 24 hours for President Energy, the oil and gas exploration and production company, raising up to £9 million, issuing new shares at 12.5 pence. It's also released an operational update about its assets in Argentina and Paraguay, but there's a little bit of strife regarding court action in Paraguay. Well, to talk us through all those chapters, we are joined by the chairman, Peter Levine. Now, Peter, first of all, this fundraise, I have to ask, was it for the major existing equity investors only, or were new players allowed to come in?
No, all the people who got shares were existing shareholders.
And that included yourself?
Yes, I came in. Again, I'm holding my corner as a demonstration of my faith in the future of the company and its solidity. And very importantly, the IFC came in, not just holding their corner, but they actually increased their shares. And as you know, the IFC is a part of the World Bank Group, and that signifies a great sign of support for us.
So Peter, why that amount, and why are you raising now?
It was deemed an appropriate time to raise it, taking into account the work programme that we've got, which is the seismic, which is coming up, and also the work in Argentina. It also provides us with a cushion as well, because naturally what investors want to see is that you have a cash cushion in these somewhat challenging times. And this takes us through to the end of 2016. It's actually slightly more than we wanted to raise, but the issue was oversubscribed, which is very nice. But we took this opportunity of doing this, and of course with the support of the World Bank, which was very crucial to us through IFC, we did it.
So you've got assets in Argentina and Paraguay. I know that 2014 was the year of Paraguay. What about 2015? Money that you've got, is that being invested into Argentina or both locations?
No, we're not going to leave Paraguay. We're continuing with Paraguay, and in fact a major part of the money that we're spending this year, it relates to seismic in the Hernandarias block in Paraguay, which is a very prospective block. We've got a lot of learnings from our 2 wells, which we've drilled last year, and we're applying those learnings in relation to the Hernandarias block, where we can see all the formations that we actually drilled through in 2014 in a much shallower depth, and the seismic is to more properly realise the value and understand where the drilling locations are. So step by step. Paraguay, we're not leaving. We don't intend to leave. We've got a very solid base there and solid support. Then we go on to Argentina. Now, Argentina last year was a year of significant change for us when we acquired the balance of the 50%, which we didn't own, plus operatorship. Having assimilated all the information and having got a new professional report showing the extent of our reserves, which are very significant, now is the time to unlock that, and that is another source reason for the funds, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to do a 2-phase program. First phase, working over old shut-in wells. Second phase, new wells.
So you're unlocking potential, and you're talking to me about step by step. Is it too early for me to ask about potential production targets?
Yeah, I've got to say to you, again, mea culpa, I've learned in the past never to give production targets. Let's just go step by step. Obviously, we're talking about incremental things, and what we need to do is to under-promise and over-deliver. It's an old adage, but it is always right. And I can assure you, I've learnt my lessons in the past from that, and we're not going to fall into that trap now. So step by step, but we know what the phases are, and we are obviously projecting that we're not going to spend money willy-nilly, but we're projecting to increase production.
But without production targets, how do you hope to attract farm-out partners? Because surely they're critical to your strategy.
Well, we're not attracting farm-out partners for Argentina, except for a deep gas prospect, which is a play which we announced today. It's very significant, but we're not looking at farm-out partners for to develop our proven oil fields. In relation to Paraguay, again, you've referred to farm-out process. We've not referred anywhere to farm-out process. That's an assumption in the market. Effectively, we have been approached by some very serious industry players, and we've spoken to them, but we've not run a formal farm-out process, nor is there an intention of doing so at this moment in time, and at least until we actually identify fully what the prospectivity of our Hernandarias block, identify what we are. So we're keeping our options open, but we are, of course, as we've said, talking to serious strategic players, keeping them informed.
But you did deem it essential enough to actually put it in the statement today, you know, interest received from major industry players. And I didn't know whether that was put in as a deliberate tease or a cliffhanger for investors.
No, it's put in as a factual statement.
Nasty shock though, within 24 hours. Canadian firm Petro Victory Energy claiming it had been granted injunctions relating to the purity block in Paraguay. What in a nutshell is this about, and why was it a shock?
Well, it may have been a shock to some people. It wasn't necessarily a shock to us. At the end of the day, if you're looking from the outside in, and obviously I can't possibly comment, but an outsider could say, well, Petro Victory owed you money. They knew that there was a deadline by which time they either had to pay or you would take action to acquire their interest at a discount, and therefore they had to do something. Now, obviously I can't possibly comment on that, but I don't really want to give any credibility or dignity to discuss the merits of the case. Safe to say, we're approaching it in professional, in a measured basis. As you can see from my demeanour, we're pretty calm about it, and there's sort of say a wry smile on my face. But at the end of the day, most things like this, don't they? They get settled in an amicable way and sorted out. But we certainly don't want to rise to any, should we say, public comments. We'll do our own actions in the right way, in a professional manner.
So that's the desired outcome. So, you know, whether that goes through mediation for you to shake hands and settle. Do you think you'll still be able to work with them afterwards once everything's been resolved?
Absolutely.
I was just wondering whether you two would still be talking to each other, that's all.
I'm sure we'll be talking to each other.
Because the reason I'm asking this is, you know, how quickly can there be a resolution? Because you don't want to kill the cow before the cash is extracted.
Well, we're not doing anything at the moment, actually, in Purity Block, where we're not planning to take any actions for the first half anyway. So, no, we hold our partners in great respect. We understand their predicament, we understand the situation, and as we've been saying to them for a fair amount of time, you know, come to us and talk, you'll find us sympathetic.
So I've been doing some research. I'm just wondering, Boquerón in Paraguay, is this the jewel in the crown? Is this where you'll be putting all your efforts, your energies and your cash?
Boquerón is a prospect within the Hernandarias block. So as I said to you, we would certainly look, this is the major thrust of our work in certainly Q1 of 2015, maybe even H1 of 2015, is to look at Boquerón as well as the two other prospects, and in Hernandarias to develop what we think is there, take into account our learnings, to extrapolate that. We know now, having made analysis of the wells that we drilled, what we expect to find, where we found them. We know the sands. We can use an analogue from Bolivia, so we're very encouraged by that.
Now, I know you don't like giving production targets. I'm just thinking about any forward-looking statements that you can give us, because one of your marketing slogans is you are opening the new hydrocarbon province. So when can we expect to see this happen? In Paraguay or in Argentina?
Well, a new hydrocarbon province must relate to Paraguay, as I've indicated, step by step in Paraguay. We've got to be calm, we've got to be cool in what we do, and we are continuing to work in Paraguay, and we're very hopeful in Paraguay. I can't give you any predictions and I can't give you any forecasts. Again, it's rather foolish to make outlandish comments about what could be there, but we've obviously had a professional report, but step by step. We're cautiously optimistic. I think that's the guarded and most appropriate thing to say.
So I know that you don't like making predictions. I'm going to say this again.
No,
but
right.
You've got working capital up till 2016. Do you anticipate that you'll have to go back to the market at all?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely
because
not.
You'll be generating income by
That's
then?
on the worst case scenario. It's absolutely in the worst case scenario. If all the cards fall down in the wrong way. And we don't anticipate that to happen, but it's up to the management to determine that, as I said, as we say in Russia, shag za shagom, which means step by step.
And I'm afraid my Russian is pretty rubbish, but thank you very much. Peter Levine, Chairman of President Energy, thank you very much.